Well, welcome to the next Vegematic show. You've got nothing better to do with your life, so you're here watching it, so you might as well stick it out for the 10 or 15 minutes or however the hell long this thing takes. Where do we begin this week? Do we begin with dictatorship stuff, or do we begin with cat jokes? Do we begin with something that's less heavy than we're all used to? Everything's so heavy these days, isn't it? It's just, I can't really get my head around how heavy it is, but I guess probably maybe I'm feeling like somebody in the 1930s would have felt, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and you're trying to warn people and there's nothing that anybody's going to do about it because corporatism is ensured, democracy is long dead and buried, so we forget that concept of democracy. It's just an evil socialist word, democracy, ruled by the people. Oh, how quaint that is in this day and age. So what am I drinking tonight? I'm drinking Asahi beer. And Asahi beer has a lovely radioactive body, and which produces a good head on it. So I'm just gonna put out a good word for the Japanese here. And these things, I wonder about the carbon footprint of this from Japan all the way to London, Ontario, Canada. A city so dull they couldn't come up with their own name, so they had to call it London. And consequently, for a city its size, and it's growing, but they're really trying to be a small town, and you know that from the roads because they just refuse to improve them. But that's carbon, that's more stuff. The roads are becoming impassable in this city, and we're working towards gridlock. I always thought pods would be a far superior means of transit than individual automobiles, but individual pods on rails or monorails or something, and you could customize it. You could have like the really fancy pods, the luxury pods, or the economy pods, or it just pod. You see, there's answers out there, but it's too late for answers because nobody wants answers. They're tired, they're depressed. Depression, huge epidemic of depression in North America right now. Europe too, I imagine. The rates of depression are off the charts because when you feel you've lost control, then depression sets in because you have no control over anything. So that's why I do my YouTube channel, because I have control over it. I can bitch about whatever I want, and sure, nobody's gonna see it, but I don't worry about that. The fact that I'm a little splinter underneath their bum kind of makes me feel good about being on YouTube. And besides, I've put years into this, years of my life, wasted, I tell you, all because I wanted to mouth off. My whole life has been like that. I just throw it all away because I want to mouth off all the time. I want to say, fuck you, that's not right. And you see, by saying, fuck you, that's not right, and every time I say, fuck you, that's not right, then the little algorithm thing goes, it's profanity, profanity, profanity. Profanity indeed. That's not profanity. You know what profanity is? Profanity is the shit that's going down around the world. The shit that the rest of the world lives in that we in the West just kind of blithely ignore because we're just causing the problems. We don't have any solutions. Live like us. Be around your bubble. Be inside your bubble, just like us. Throw things out. Plastics, we don't give a shit. Use as many as you possibly can. Wrap things in it and spread it around, and you get plastic bags, and you hear about the whale that choked on plastic bags? Yeah, it happened, right? I mean, dead whales washing up on the shores. And because of plastics. Plastics, plastics, plastics. And how do we get rid of it? How do we do it? Everything you buy is wrapped in plastic. Now, one time you could have milk that would come in glass recyclable bottles. When I was a kid, we had milkmen. Believe it or not, I'm that old that I can remember the milkman delivering quarts of milk in glass bottles. Now, it wasn't horse-drawn. He had a truck, so it wasn't that good, but at least they weren't using plastics. And plastics gradually took over. But before there was plastic, there was paper, there was glass, there were things that were recyclable, but nah, plastic, oil, more money, cheaper to ship, plastic, use more plastic. If you ask me, you want to know why everybody's depressed. It's because the most powerful person in the world is batshit crazy. Not just a little bit either. So, why do we always end up giving batshit crazy people the highest positions anywhere? Because I think it's a death wish on all our parts. I think it's just we can't fathom the damage we're doing as a culture, as a society, pumping out the carbon, melting the South Pole, burning up the trees, whatever. We can't face the guilt, so that's why we sort of go, okay, these crazy people, they know how to do shit without feeling guilt. Let's make them our leaders, because then we won't have to think about all this shit anymore. And sometimes I wish there was a bridge right over the United States and America, right across the whole damn country to Canada, so these kids wouldn't have to be abducted. And what are they doing with them? They're selling them into slavery? Fuck, I don't know. They could do anything they want with them. Nobody cares. Nobody knows. We lost them. You know, they showed the boys. What happened? What about the girls? What about all the little babies that they took? They're being used for CIA medical experiments. How do you know it's not happening? Do you think the average German in Germany knew that they were exterminating people? Hey, how do you know it's not happening now? Are you going to trust the media to tell you if it was? Are you going to trust Sean Hannity to tell you if all this shit was going on? If there were crematoriums going 24/7, and they just say, we found a new source of power. The corruption. The absolute disgusting corruption that's just become endemic ensures that we're heading towards even more insanity. You know, you can't, as a thinking person, sit here and say, I can relax while all this shit is going on. You can't relax. That's why there's an epidemic of depression, because people can't relax. Nobody's allowed to relax anymore. If you sit down and try and relax, you're fed some kind of weird Wi-Fi signals. You don't know. I mean, you get so addicted to the damn computer. We all got Wi-Fi signals bouncing all around our house. We don't know what they're doing to our brains. Yeah. We love you, politicians. And people play the game, the left versus right, and which criminal is better? That's what the last U.S. election reminded me of. Is which criminal, a psychopath, would be more suited to lead the most powerful nation on earth? Psychopath A? Well, she was pretty once upon a time, but now she's kind of having this late life crisis, and the corruption is showing on her face, and she's finished. Okay, so yeah, but we liked Bernie. People wanted Bernie. People knew. People know that it was corrupt, that the whole primary in 2016 was corrupt. And I think about it and go, okay, you gotta move past that. And it's over. 216 is done. It's 218. And I'm just hoping and praying that my American friends actually register to vote and try and overcome the corrupt system and maybe do a little something. Make our doom a little less certain for the rest of the world too. It's not just you guys. I'm in Canada. It's just, hey, you don't think this shit affects me? Ha! I am gathering 1 or 2 subscribers, which makes me wonder if the YouTube algorithm is somehow off and is not shadow banning me properly. Now, of course, I've tried to communicate with the YouTube staff on numerous times after providing them with material for I don't know how many years, 6 years or so, and maybe, they're making a mistake. They're allowing me to get a few more subscribers, and they know it's dangerous, but they figure they'll just live on the edge a little bit and let me get out there a little bit, right? Just so that it looks good. Why is it the recommended shit in YouTube again? I keep coming back to this because I don't like to watch TV. That's why I like YouTube, because television is super brainwashing, and YouTube is just well, you can pick your brainwashing on YouTube. You can choose which brainwashing you want to indulge in. Oh, and every time I make one of these videos, invariably I'll upload it to my computer and I'll go, there's a spike sticking in my head. And maybe that's symbolic, because there is a spike sticking in my head. It's pain, it's brutality, it's war, it's environmental degradation. All that shit's sticking in my brain like a dagger going through it. And depressed? Oh, I wrote the book on depressed. You talk about depressed, man. I lived through years of being depressed. I lived through the Reagan years being depressed. I lived through the Bush years being depressed. I lived through the Stephen Harper Canadian years, which are different from American years because they're worth less. But I went through all that shit, man. The Clinton years. It was all depressing. It was all, you could see where it was going. You could see the corruption rising with every new administration, a little bit more corrupt, a little bit more with the Congress too, and the corruption just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then finally, the people that love corruption, they were so happy with Citizens United, because they'd finally had enough right-wing assholes on the Supreme Court to pass an insane law. But that's just one insane law. There's insane laws all over the place. There's a whole industry of insane laws. That's what people want. They want insanity. They don't want any kind of normal, relaxed, productive, happy. No, they don't want any of that. They don't want that at all. It's just too much. You go on and on and on, and you rail against the machine, and you scream and shout for years and years and years, and it just gets worse. Everything eventually turns to shit. And I'd like to claim that as Vegematics law. Everything turns to shit eventually. And you know what pisses me off? The truth is out there. The truth is out there about everything. But nobody cares to investigate what that truth is. And truth has become something amorphous, something unreal. Truth has become flexible truth. And a lot of this can go back to media consolidation. And of course, we're seeing increased media consolidation since they're not really telling you exactly enough of the correct propaganda. So as there will soon be one media company running everything. It's almost there. It's just getting closer and closer, right? So all sources of information will be controlled globally. So I'm going to end it for tonight, and I would like to thank everybody sincerely for taking the time to listen to the wisdom that I have gained over a lifetime. Yes, that's it. Wisdom. I know. That's my purpose in life. You give me meaning. Thank you. And I mean that most sincerely. See? Look at my eyes. Are they sincere? Sure. Stay well, everybody. Keep in touch. Get down and send some comments. And it might take a day for me to respond, because I go in and I go, so, okay, I'm going to respond to every comment. And I have so much fun doing it. So be patient. Your comment will appear unless you're a troll, and trolls get, trolls, why worry about it? I just sort of, well, I do. I had a troll last time. I don't get many trolls, but I had a troll last time, and it makes me think I must be getting under somebody's skin. It must be, I must be doing my duty as a human being and my duty as a tubular human. So that's all for tonight. Look after each other, be kind to each other, and fuck Donald Trump, eh?